There you guys.
Howdy, everybody.
Hi.
All right, who wants to run?
Yeah, I'll put my hat into the ring.
All right, John. Anybody else want to be a candidate?
I do.
All right, great. What's your first name or screen name?
Karen.
Karen, great. And Eric, do you want to run as well? You're muted. Eric, you're muted, so I didn't hear your answer.
No, that's fine. I'll pass. Thank you.
All right. All right, great. Well, I'll run too then, just for fun.
It is fun.
All right, you guys interested in using the timer just to keep us on time? I know I will blab on for sure.
I don't know where a timer is, so.
I can run a Google timer in the background.
Okay.
The document, I think, says 2 minutes a piece for like kind of an opening statement. So, Don, why don't we have you go first? I'll click start when you start talking.
Sorry, who's going first? I am.
Yeah, like a 2 minute opening statement.
Awesome. Who's got the background? All right, cool. So 2 minutes. My name is John Williamson. I'm based in Brisbane, Australia. I've been a software developer for about 4-5 years now. My most experience is in web app development on EOS decentralized applications. So at the moment, I'm working with EOS Nation, the block producer, as a web developer, and spending most of my time working on the Bancor application at Bancor.network, which integrates with both EOS and Ethereum. Yeah, I guess funds-wise, I'd like to go towards perhaps Anchor. I think that's a really cool project, and they could use the extra funding and support. And then, yeah, that's about it.
All right. Less than a minute. All right, Karen, you want to go?
Sure. I have a roommate, so if you hear talking in the background, they work from their room, so I apologize. I am very new to your group. I read the book the first time, More Equal Animals, about 2 weeks ago. And since then, I've read it 2 more times and dedicated tons of hours to fractal governments and how to make them work. I am not a programmer. I have never even done cryptocurrency before in my life. And in the last 3 days have been thrown into this wonderful translation of how to make a government theory into practice. So it's been fascinating meeting people and seeing what your project is and what you're doing. If I am a business owner, I have 4 different businesses dealing with veganism, environmental issues, and I have a nonprofit for trans youth. So I'm more community, social justice oriented. And if I were to get the funding, what I would love to do is set up a network of book discussion groups throughout my area and among other people. I have purchased 6 books so far, and it cut me back a lot of money. And I would like to set up an outline for discussing the books, introduction to the Eden project, and kind of a general public knowledge of what's going on. Did I hit 2 minutes?
Minute and a half.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to leave this up so I'm staring at the timer because I can't time myself otherwise. I have been in crypto since I bought my first Bitcoin in 2012, I think, and have the typical story of how long ago that was and how much that'd be worth today, because I don't have that Bitcoin anymore, and Litecoin. I got involved deeply in 2017 in crypto, spent all of 2017 studying almost nonstop, and discovered EOS that year. got into Ethereum. Back then was at $8 when I started the year. And then I got a bunch of people involved, and I was Skyping with everyone to help them do things with their wallets and whatnot. And so eventually decided to write a newsletter. So I've written a newsletter about crypto. I just had started a podcast about governance on EOS prior to joining Block One, at which point I had to stop doing the podcast. And then spent 2.5 years working at Block One at the epicenter of all things fascinating in software, and learned a ton. Was a engineering manager for the blockchain team the last year I was there, and now I'm on Clarion working with Dan and the team. I am a geek about economics and philosophy and politics. Read the book twice, outlined, underlined, dog-eared a ton the second time through, and I actually have come to understand it pretty well, which was very different than where I started. So I'm really excited about this idea and supporting this effort, because I think it would be really altering for humanity. As far as the budget, I think education on that point is critical. I'd like to devote energy there. And I think there are critical issues, usability and technical, on EOS.io that we need to solve, and I'd love to put money toward that. 2 seconds remaining. All right, open discussion time. And I actually meant to say this before I started. Since you guys are both running, John and Karen, do you have a recording going?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Karen?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I'll have a second timer going now to track how long we've been in the meeting. So, okay. Dominic is messaging us. Shall we just go in around? John, do you want to, or does anybody have any questions? I guess we could start there.
Well, I'm curious how the voting works. Like, is there one vote you have, or do you, like, if there was 3 people, you were in a group of 10, and there's 3 people you'd be willing to vote for, or do you only just get the 1 vote, or how does that work?
You get 1 vote, and then the votes have to tally to greater than 2/3 of the group.
So there's only 5 people in our group. How many people in our group?
Just us 4.
4. So if there's 4 people in our group and 3 are running,
It'd have to be consensus. It'd have to be all of us.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about how the playoffs work. We have to come to consensus, or we lose representation.
And do we come to consensus in this meeting, or
Yep.
do we just do that anonymously when we vote later? I don't quite understand.
No, it would be highly recommended we do this in conversation. Otherwise, it's random whether we're going to have representation or not.
Right. Right.
well, can I just say that everyone is amazing? And I honestly, like, we really have to think through what is it that's the most important to move on to the next round, because I honestly don't think that there is any kind of loser, like there is no, like, I think that we would be fine no matter which one of us went on, as far as representation, as long as we're working as a group.
Yeah, this is a very high quality community you're jumping into, Karen. So you're gonna meet a lot of awesome people.
Yeah, it's been like jumping into a cold swimming pool from a diving board, to be honest with you. I mean, I come from academia. I have a master's degree. I have an MBA. I went to Columbia University, but this is not my world at all. And I jumped into it because of the link to having read the book and the ideas and wanting to expand them. So
well, we got you now. There's no getting away.
I'm getting involved. I have indeed gotten to talk to Brandon and Dominic one-on-one with questions, because there's so many things I just didn't understand, and I'm understanding. But what I'm doing is I'm putting together like a glossary guide, and I'm trying to find the outsiders that are joining the group that are not from your organization. Because I mean, I got my first EOS account 2 days ago. So there are people like me that are going to be joining, and you're not aware of it.
Right, that's awesome.
So I do think that I bring a very unique voice to leadership.
Yeah, and I also think the process itself is the critical piece we need to represent here. There's a lot that can be done with the technology and the blockchain. There's a lot that can be done with the funds independent of the blockchain. But I think this is the Eden is about the process, and to get the governance to work, to get what we want done in terms of human coordination, we need understanding and inquiry of what will make this governance process work best.
Yes.
I think that's like critical. So people who have chewed on the book and really grappled with those ideas and asked questions, I think that's a big deal. I think that's really what I hope that's what people are promoting primarily in these elections.
I have been going through the book discussion group, and there really hasn't been as much as I would like. So with the book, what I would do with the funds is I would create an outline and a structure to create a book discussion group. That is one of my missions.
Cool.
And I would love to parallel how it works, to how it relates to your project, and to show each time you prove a theory in the book in real time. I would love it.
That's awesome.
Mike, has there been any discussion about coordinating funding? Like if everybody is throwing in with needing to support Anchor, which would be a good cause, but maybe it should be more spread out, like people are creating NFTs for new users or funding onboarding and such like that, rather than just being just a little bit more coordinated and smart as far as how this goes between the nodes, the winning funded nodes. You know, has there been any discussion about that subject, or is everybody just on their own? Just,
Well,
I mean, all the winners, I mean, are on their own.
Yeah. You are electing representatives to spend the money hopefully how you would want it spent. So we are here to select people who we think will spend the money appropriately, but the money is in their hands. The funding will also be separated over levels, most to the top person, we're calling the Satoshi,
Right.
and then distributed down in a very, very fast fall off. But the top 3 levels will all get funding. So
Right, but you understand my question, like they could all just say, okay, Anchor definitely deserves funding, so everybody throws their money into Anchor. Well, that may not be, I'm not saying there should be, I want to gain control of the funding, but is there any discussion about how wise that might be? I understand there are no limits, right? So
yeah,
I get that.
It'll purely be a matter of consensus. There'll be, take away the layers below it, because most of it will be going to the head representative. That person's going to spend the money. So they should be taking input from from the people they represent, but they're going to have single-handed control over how to disperse that money.
Right.
And they either do it in a way that the community is excited about and potentially vote them back, or they do something terrible and we pull them out, prematurely. But they do have full control over it and can run votes. We can run votes for the community. They can collect information just the way you would just talk to your representatives. But that's a matter of the community getting together in committees and just discussing, hey, how much do we want to give Anchor and how much do we want to give other issues?
Right.
Karen, you're going to find usability on EOS.io and a lot of blockchains is atrocious. So figuring out how to make this accessible to non-geeks is critical. It's going to be a huge deal.
Thank you. I didn't feel as important as I did about 30 seconds
No,
ago.
your perspective is badly needed. Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you.
So, Mike, what motivated you to join the Clarion team? What interests you in Clarion?
I have studied Dan since the beginning of 2017, and I'm a philosophy principles guy, and I saw one of the rare human beings on the planet who functions by principle. He said what he does. He's followed that path. Every seeming exception to that, I've found the backstory that explains that nope, he's just functioning by principle. So for me, I wanted to find somebody with that level of integrity and build life, liberty, and property. That's what I've studied. That's what I love doing, and had the opportunity to be paid to do it, which is like my dream job.
What about the Clarion project in particular? Do you like or sort of gets you going?
Clarion distinct from Eden, or Clarion as the umbrella, including Eden?
Yeah, distinct from Eden.
Okay. I was actually the one to kind of push the Clarion, like the peer-to-peer side of this project. I have seen so much censorship in all the media, the big social media platforms, and I'm a rights guy. I'm a freedom of speech guy. I'm a Second Amendment guy. Like we have these rights and they mean something, and we needed a platform where people wouldn't be censored, where people would have a voice, and Clarion's a huge opportunity to build a means of humans to communicate freely, and I'm all about that. In fact, building it as a platform is pretty exciting because allowing other people to build on such a platform, I think would just alter lots of things. The book talks about media representing the minority opinion as the majority opinion. And if you have a free flow of information and free speech, that can massively impact the media stranglehold on the control of information.
Awesome.
And it's a nascent field. So as far as being a tech geek, it's some pretty amazing geek stuff. There's some pretty cool tech and very in its infancy.
I would be very much interested in learning more, for sure.
John,
So
anything you
John,
want
are you
to?
still involved in, are you involved programming on EOS itself?
Sorry, who was that question to?
John.
Oh, me. Haven't done. Again, I've developed smart contracts on EOS. I've made a couple, projects here and there just for fun. One of them was hosting a EOS meetup in Brisbane. On like meetup.com, you can always host your meetups. But one of the problems that we saw there was that you'll get about 15 people that say they're going to come, but they never actually do. And then again, buy enough pizza for 15 people, or whatever it is, and then only 4 or 5 sort of come. That they wouldn't rock up. So I made an app and I called it Rock Up. And so what it is a smart contract. And if you want to get a ticket and actually say that you're going to the meetup, you got to stake, I don't know, $10 worth of EOS or something like that. And only at the meetup itself, I'll do like a roll call. And so if you're there, you get your EOS back, and that's that. But again, if you don't show up, then again we keep the EOS, and that goes towards pizza and beer. So
nice.
Yeah,
I love that. Oh.
Actually, on a bigger scale as well, it probably would have been all right for like I'm not the biggest fan of Trump, but again, remember when wasn't it Trump would hold a rally and then a bunch of people would get the tickets for the rally, but they wouldn't go because that they didn't like him, they didn't want other people to be able to go. So again, if you had something like that where you do it's free tickets, but you just got to stake $10 or $20 worth, like something like that would have been really a bit helpful as well in such times. But yeah, anyway, I'm a big fan of EOS. I've been following Dan shortly after they announced EOS.io kind of thing. So I was around during the ICO and bought my EOS tokens through the sort of Ethereum smart contract that they had and stuff like that. And yeah, it's since then been a big fan of his, and reading his blog posts and stuff like that. So yeah, big fan of EOS. Lately I've been working on Ethereum just because that's my job. Well, that's where my boss wants me to work further out. But again, yeah, compared to EOS, I think Ethereum's pretty bad and pretty slow. But anyway,
I don't know how people could use it. I mean, unless you're a whale just moving large amounts, how is it practical?
Especially when we want to do so much cool stuff, like put real estate on blockchain. Like I want it so that you can buy like 50 cents worth of a house and it's still financially feasible to do that. But again, when Ethereum will charge you $50 just to do a basic thing on the blockchain. That's just, it's inaccessible. Again, like you say, it's only available to whales.
So is your boss kind of like nervous being in the Ethereum network with somebody like people like you running around speaking? Yes.
And I think one of the problems that we see in blockchain is that we just get so we can get pretty tribal. Again, that there's the Ethereum guys say nothing but Ethereum, and there's Cardano and stuff like that. So again, we can sort of be pretty ignorant to other blockchains, and I think that's a bit of that, and sort of tribalism. Again, you talk to some blockchain guys and they seem like they know so much, and then you ask them a question about another blockchain and they have no idea. Like, they haven't even looked into it to compare it. It's a bit like telling a religious person about like another god. Like, they don't really want to they're not going to be too interested in hearing it. So yeah.
So Mike, were you pulled into from Block One with Dan, or how did this work? Why'd you leave Block One?
So Dan resigned the end of last year, and when he started talking about the kinds of projects he was looking at doing, it was right up my alley. I mean, it was just perfect for me. I told everyone Block One was my dream job when I moved to Virginia, and when Dan, thoroughly upped the stakes by describing what he was going to do next, I was like, man, I'm in. Dan's got this history of BitShares was amazing, cutting edge, and before its time. Steam was amazing, cutting edge, impactful, and before its time. And then EOS was the broadened vision of that. So when we started talking peer-to-peer because of censorship and logically decentralized, let alone the governance piece. I mean, that's just bonus, right? The tech is cool enough, but I'm a governance guy. Like, I've studied the Constitution. I've argued for the Articles of Confederation. I mean, I'm like a pre-Constitution guy. So I've studied forms of government and what works about them and what doesn't, and the principles behind them. And so when he started describing the principles in More Equal Animals, which I heavily edited as well, that was just right up my alley. I wanted to do that. I wanted to build tech and build awesome ways for people to coordinate. That's, man, doesn't get better than that for me. Wow. I'm still not popular at parties, but I love my job. Part of what we need to be considering, FYI, is how choosing someone that we can stand behind, but also that we think can move up, right? So just as a little perspective, we're aiming for somebody we can get through as many levels as possible. So just a little background, thinking about the thoughts now that they're actually applying in reality.
Yeah, because we have to think about not just who would put good use to the funds, because that's part of it. It's who is going to best represent us as well, leading up the chain.
Yeah.
Because at the core of the government structure is our group, in theory. Yep. Yes. So everything starts with us.
I'd like to propose a question. I'm interested to hear, I'm happy to answer this too, but I'm interested to hear from both of you guys. The process described in More Equal Animals, the process is where the power is, and the schism chapter talks about all of the ways that the population, the actual, I mean, at least American I can speak to, population is bifurcated. There's 2 different teams. Choose your team on every topic. Choose your team, right, and fight with the other teams. And I love that this is about the process and not about all that other stuff. For me, it's about you do your thing individually. That's your thing. That's a self-expression, but that's not part of government. Governance is this process. And I like how clean that is, and I like how it leaves all that other stuff untouched. It's not wrong, it's not bad stuff, but it's personal. And it takes all of that out of governance. Unless the people of the community all, have a conversation and agree that, no, this is part of governance as well. but I think we need to have the process be primary, like more important than every other topic. So I'm curious, John and Karen, how do you relate to that idea? Do you relate to it differently? Do you think there are issues that the book doesn't talk about that really need to be part of the process?
I'd like to respond, but I want to give John the chance to first, because I usually jump in. I'm a talker.
No, you go first. Ladies first.
Aw, thank you, John. Well, I grew up in a family of union workers from New York, and my grandfather was an AP history teacher. And one of the huge historical things that happened, fractal community-wise, happened in Greenwich Village in the 1940s, I believe, when they were going to build the Robert Moses Highway. This is like a family story, but it is a story of the guardian angels and other neighborhood groups coming together and basically saying the government decision to build a highway in the middle of their neighborhood was not going to happen. So all the little neighborhood groups all got together and within their little organizations stopped this project from happening in the middle of New York City, in the middle of Greenwich Village. So it's the idea that from the grassroots level, and I'm going to go back and tell you that over COVID, I started a food pantry where we fed over 400 families. And it was the idea that going up to get permission, to get rules, to get regulation, to make community action in your neighborhood happen is inefficient and doesn't work. So the idea that you can start government from a grassroots, your locality first, your group first, our group first, and then we work up from there is freeing and what we need in our government. Absolutely.
Yes.
So I take it personally. I'm very emboldened by this. I don't have the technical knowledge to go up against people at higher levels, but I do think that I have a very unique perspective that is going to stand out against other people.
Yeah, we have plenty of technical people in the community, so you're good. You'll have as big a cabinet and advisors as you need.
Yeah,
But I
I'm
need
also-
you guys' help, though. That's the
Yeah.
thing. You know, if you do choose to vote for me, I'm going to need you guys because I'm not going to be able to function without a glossary on a daily basis. Yeah.
I'm also from Jersey, so
Oh,
I used to talk a lot different. Now I talk really different.
you know, it only happens to me when I talk to my family. I've lost the accent. I'm in Michigan now for 20 years, but you get me on the phone with my dad, my mom, and my brother, and yeah, it just comes out.
All right, John.
Yeah, I really like how it really puts forward, you know, more community. I feel like, you know, politicians are so far away from us, and, you know, the idea that, you know, we all have to go through a system like this where we can all talk to each other directly. It's much more sort of, you know, intimate, and we can ask, you know, straight up questions. And I think like there's a lot more accountability as well as the idea of randomization. I feel like the sort of immediate reaction to that is a sort of like knee-jerk reaction of saying like, how the hell can we, you know, randomly pick, you know, someone at the top? But again, you know, once they've gone through the filter enough, and then, you know, it's that guarantee that it's never going to go stale. Like, you're not going to have the same person on top all the time. I think that's, you know, amazing. It's a little bit crazy, but again, it's amazing at the same time. So I'm a real big fan of that. And then again, asking again, it seems like in the States, again, you know, we don't get so crazy in Australia. We're a bit more chill than you Yanks. But it seems like,
I
again,
take offense to that.
it seems like again, you know, you got red versus blue. You know, you got one president against the other, and it becomes like, you know, so cutthroat. And I think, you know, Eden, you know, reminds us like we shouldn't have to care so much like who's at the very, very top. We should be caring more about our own community, our own people, the people around us, stuff like that. And again, if something does go wrong, and again, you do elect Trump, you always keep that right to secede and like, and walk away. Like, I think that's so important, secession. And I love how the book, puts that in there. I think that's one of the most important parts about the book. It never occurred to me that a state could leave like the United States. And again, being an outsider, you just think of, the USA as just one big country, but it's like, hang on, it's like the United States. So the idea is that each of these states kind of want to be together. And if they don't want to be together, then they should be able to walk away. So yeah, I feel like that's a crazy idea. And, it's crazy that I find it a crazy idea kind of thing. That's just what I sort of, grew up thinking kind of thing. And that's become the sort of status quo. So yeah, I think reminding people of that is crazy. It's so good.
John, you should read the declarations of secession during the Civil War. Some of them
Yeah.
are blatantly ignorant. I will say that up front because you will see blatantly ignorant stuff in them. But some of them are short, simple statements that say, we join this union for a reason. We independently as a state join this union, and we now revoke our interest in doing so.
Yeah.
Like super simple. There's one or two that are dirt simple, and that's secession. That's what this whole thing is about,
Yeah.
which is why
Yeah.
I argued for the Articles of Confederation. So.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Right, I could imagine the original articles, if they said, no, you're never going to be able to leave this union should you join
Yeah.
it, would have been a
Nope.
totally different situation trying to sell that idea.
Absolutely.
So
All right. Well,
we
we're
need to come
30.
up with an answer in 5 minutes.
I have a timer of 30 minutes. I started a few minutes after, so I think we're about 35 minutes in. So we probably have 10, 15 minutes. Why don't we do a vote now and see how close we are?
Before we do that, can
How
I
does
just
that
say,
work though? Let's say you have 10 people. You would just go around to each person and say who would vote for this person? And then
I was
number
hoping-
two, say
I was
who would
hoping
vote
we'd have-
for that person.
I was hoping we'd have a breakout chat where we could do it in chat. But yeah, for the four of us, we'll just say who we're going to vote for, and that'll give us an idea of how close we are to consensus.
Okay.
I just want to say, if we hang up, can I stay in contact with you guys? Because this was very, very educational for me.
Yeah, for anyone you want to do that with, the at the beginning, that's your Telegram handle. So just notate
Okay.
that, and you can reach any of us on Telegram.
I didn't have a Telegram until 3 days ago. So
Cool.
Sunday. It was Sunday. So yes, 4.
All right, so let's do a round of voting. John.
Yeah, I think Mike really represents me. And again, being so close to Dan Larimer, any friend of Dan Larimer is a friend of mine. So yeah, I concede, and I'm voting Mike.
Got it. Eric.
Eric. Yeah, I would definitely vote for Mike.
All right. Karen.
I'm going to vote for myself. I think that there are too many of you techies up there in this leadership, and that you're going to lose representation from people like me as you move further up.
Cool.
Okay, now what?
Well, I was going to vote for Karen, so we're 2-2. And obviously, I have the power to push myself up at the moment. So looking ahead, what do we think we can achieve at the next level, right? Because that's partially how we're going to make this decision. What do we think this community will vote at the next level?
I say grow the community, and I think that I have more ability to do that than you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like your resume of stuff you've done in the community. I like that you're from the tri-state area, but that's just personal. I like I think one of the things we're going to need, like I said, is a new perspective. Plenty of people who know the technical side. Now, I also know how much of a mess just setting up Eden V0.1, we, like this team who knows this stuff, ran into lots of technical issues with CPU time and whatnot.
Yes.
So there's a lot of usability issues that we're aware of and we're desperate to get to. I think having someone can represent the people is the big play here, and can get other votes. That's a poorly formed thought. Let me give that a thought. If anyone else wants to ask a question or talk, please go ahead.
Well, is your argument that we are voting for the person we expect to become Satoshi?
Yeah, someone who will represent us and someone we think will go as far up as possible to represent us at as high a level as possible.
See, if you were to ask me, could I lead the whole thing? No. But could I use the funds for something that will help you grow into something better? Yes. Could I represent further up in government what I think that I need to represent for people coming in and finding your project from off the street? Yes, you need me. But would I lead the whole thing? No. So that is a point of contention. You would be better. But do you need me in this government? Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah.
I think those are both good arguments. Obviously,
I might argue. Sorry,
Go
John,
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, no, you go.
No, I'm just saying those are both valid arguments. I mean, we would definitely need representation of both viewpoints in the overall organization. But if the argument is to govern, then I think that should be very much influencing our decisions.
When I read the rules, though, that was not what I signed up for. When I read the rules of what to do for the election, point 3 was deciding what the money was to be spent for. That is what all the literature was, what I signed up for. So maybe I misunderstood what we were going for, but I do know that you're reading up but as far as this election, I thought the point was what to use with the funds too. Or is that just like a side bonus?
Well, I thought the strategy was government. We're electing government.
Oh, absolutely. But I thought that was part of the goal as well, was at least for the test election.
Yeah, how to spend 1,000 EOS is definitely a part of it. That was incentive for people to play along and test out the process for sure. Part of what we're doing is I'm madly taking notes on what's working and not working about this process because we have to automate it. But the money is also going to be allocated by the Satoshi. So whoever we vote into that position will spend that money, and we should all be interested in how that money gets spent. And that'll be the case on a much bigger scale in the real eventual Eden.
I'd also argue that while we definitely need, again, a normal person, one that's not bloody, too nerdy and gets carried away, that I definitely would be, and perhaps Mike, if he's technical, I feel like it's still important to send the product or the project to the first the MVP or version 1, get something out of the door first, and then once you got something out of the door, then polish it, and then invest in translating it to plain English for again the average Joe to understand, and that investing too early in the average Joe and understanding could stunt development and getting it to version 1.0.
Well, I hear all of this, but the point that I guess I'm going in the roundabout way to say is the biggest way for the project to grow is to grow. And the fact that we're aiming for 100 today and you got 64, one of the best ways to bring more people into the project to be participating and actually prove that the theories of the book work is to get more public interaction and involvement in your project and interest. And I think that I represent that more.
Yeah, I think I would actually take a mild counterpoint to that in that
Mhm.
I want to see the community grow, but I think at the same time, half of the book, third of the book probably, is culture, right? It's what do we need to hold dear? What are the principles we need to hold dear? The process above all else. The idea of independence, right?
Yes.
Independence is a foreign idea in a lot of ways to a lot of us.
Mhm.
So developing personal independence, developing community independence, and making that
Yes.
part of the culture of the community. I want to be very careful. I hope we're very careful about who we invite and how we educate so that we're sure we've got a strong culture that's going to drive this to be everything it could be. Without that culture, you know, having argued for the Articles of Confederation for so long, someone asked me one day, well, if the Articles were so great, then why did the Constitution take over? And I was like, well, that is a good argument against the Articles of Confederation. But I think you need that culture, you need that knowledge and the people's mindset to back the governance structure. Otherwise, it's just words on a paper, as we found.
Yes.
So-
And you know what? It's something that the translation between what you're actively doing and the concepts in the book needs to happen. And that is what I am putting as my mission and what I would use the money for, is to translate what you're doing to the general public. So.
Cool. All right, John and Eric, have you altered your view, or if I say yes to me, do we have me as representative then?
Yep, I'm still behind you.
Okay, Eric.
Yeah, I think your ideas on personal liberty and such like that mirror my own so well that you would be making decisions like I would hope that I would make.
Okay.
I'm not
Really
saying
appreciate
that the other people would not. I'm just, and it is not very valuable, but I'm thinking of going forward and being at a higher level in this organization in Eden as far as making decisions. And your technical background certainly gives you a lot of ability as far as deciding where those funds should go. And like maybe it is a team of coders is needed, you know, but how would you be able to help make a decision like that versus maybe we do need to get more into the translation and the community should be where the resources would go. So I support Mike.
Okay.
I support all of your decision, but I am indeed disappointed because it does indeed feel like a rejection from outsiders.
Well, I want you on my cabinet. So Karen, I've taken down your Telegram name and would love to work with you for sure. I said it already, but I'll repeat it. Having your fresh perspective and interest in this, regardless of your exposure to the technology, is absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. Like I said, we're having a bad enough time having the technical background, and we've got the guys who wrote the blockchain, and there's still challenges. So we got a long road to make this easily accessible. Oh, I lost her. All right, well, I guess that's it. What would you guys like me? Is there any other input that you'd like me to represent at the next level then? I can just be me. I mean, so far that's what I've got, but if you guys have any other specific input, what to do with the money or anything you want me to represent at the next level, what would that be?
No, I trust your judgment.
Okay.
I'd like it,
a lot of
just to be- obviously just make wise decisions, you know, don't just, again, I'm thinking it'd be nice if there was a coordination between this higher echelon as far as them not just doing the same thing. You know, they would be some coordinated effort, not that they'd be limited, but they'd just be smart about it. They'd know what each other's doing. Like I gave the example, like anchor or scatter needing to be funded, everybody could just assume that and all the funds go there. Well, we need something like she was bringing up, like we need some, yeah, it needs to be spread out as far as it's maybe, yeah, onboarding users is the priority, or should be, if 70% of the other groups are moving toward a technical direction.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
writing code or something like that versus direct onboarding of new users.
That's great. I have both of your screen names from Telegram, and obviously this is just a trial and it's just 1,000 EOS, but 1,000 EOS can do something great. So I have both your Telegram names, and for however long it takes to work this governance structure and spend the 1,000 EOS on something, please do keep my Telegram name and, you know, relate to me as a representative. I'll push ideas up.
Great.
All right.
Now,
Well,
if people come to consensus in the first 5 minutes, if the groups come to consensus in the first 5 minutes, what do? Just chat for the rest of the time? Or?
Yeah, I think it's hangout party time after that.
Oh, okay. You don't have to. I thought you had to stay on board for the whole 50 minutes.
Well, in the channel, it looks like people are already creating a recording.
Oh, okay.
First room recording. Yeah, there's already people. Main room is unblocked if anyone wants to come back. Yeah, it looks like the main room is ready, and I might as well get started uploading the recording. So
I take it you have flipped your vote.
I'm sorry?
I take it you have changed your vote.
I have changed my vote to me, yes. Thanks for asking. So now we need to go to the main channel, and let's see. What I believe he said was room and the person you're voting for. Yeah, it looks like room and the person you're voting for. So I will say room 2.
So we just hit leave room and we go to the Telegram channel, right?
Yeah, in the Telegram channel, you'll just write room 2 dash and my Telegram name.
Just like that, I sent a message there. Did you see that one?
Perfect. See that?
Great.
Oh, your last name is Williams. Wow, that's a great name. Do you know the economist John Williams?
Well, it's actually Williamson. Usually people go on about the singer.
Okay. He was the guy. I think I'm thinking of the right guy. He developed the CPI and the corrected CPI after they messed with it for years.
Yeah.
All right, and Eric, have you done your vote already?
I'm typing right now.
Perfect. I'll just put mine in now.
Wait, did that chick leave on purpose?
Sorry?
Old Love, the girl that we're just talking to. Did she leave on purpose? By the looks of it, she hasn't reconnected.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that is the case.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Eric, what's your name in
Real language? Oh, it's AIRECK.
All right. Have you put your vote in the
It's
Telegram
in
channel?
now. It's in now.
There it is. All right, great. I'll start rendering a video. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Great. Thank
Likewise.
you.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.